Hey everyone, this is Sue Reviews. Today I'm going to be doing my review on The Boys. You can check it out on Amazon Prime. It's fucking amazing. I'm going to give it my review. Overall, 8.5 out of 10. I know I've been going 8.5 or like 8s and stuff in my reviews the last few I've been putting out, but this TV show is fucking amazing. 8 episodes, all 8 came out on that Friday when it released. Before even it came out at San Diego Comic-Con, everyone said they were going to have a second season. It already got announced, even before the first episode came out, which was fucking crazy. That's how confident Amazon Prime was of how this TV show would go. So I'm pretty sure Seth Rogen and his buddy Goldblum, they helped out with some of the first episode and stuff, so their names attached to like most of this work and everything too. So that was pretty exciting to know that like Seth Rogen, one of my favorite Canadian actors, is a part of this whole superhero phase that's happening with this whole, it's kind of like a black comedy, like dark R-rated, and then it has like just those weird comedy skits that you don't really get, but I loved it. It was really good. So we're going to talk about the characters right now. Before I start talking about plots, I'm going to talk about some of the characters. So the good guys, we're just going to go off. Huey, he's an IT tech guy. He's pretty much how it's basically around. He is the main hero in this sense, but he's an average Joe IT tech guy, gets wrapped in the whole world of hurt. Spoiler ahead, guys, sorry. His girlfriend gets blown apart by a superhero, and they call it a accident of collateral damage, and he sees it as a way of how the superheroes are being represented now, because in this world the superheroes are everything. Everyone loves them. They are gods. Everyone wants to be them. There's A class, B class level heroes. You want to be in A class. You get the money, the promotions, the movies, and that's how everyone is in that world. It's pretty cool to see that in a way. We watch the Marvel Universe, and they're all usually against the heroes, and they're not for money or anything like that. So it's just cool seeing like they're worrying about their numbers, their next movie that's coming out. Like even one of the superheroes was bitching about how his movie was getting pirated, so he was losing money on that, even though he was one of like an A-class hero. So it was just funny to see how that shit matters in the series, and it was cool to see like how it represents. So VOD is like a big company, and that VOD is like pretty much who you want to go work for if you're a superhero client. They'll have an agency for you. They'll have cameras on you, make sure your representative online is well known. You'll get the money, you'll get the movies. So we talked about Huey, we talked about Vought. We're going to talk about Billy Butcher, who's played by Carl Urban. Sorry, I can't really talk, and I'll say names, and then when I know how to say them in my head, but when it comes out, it sounds totally fucking weird. I'm sorry if I butcher some names when I'm talking about them. So yeah, Billy Butcher, he is basically out for vengeance. He hates the bads. He hates the supers. He just thinks they're a fucking bunch of idiots, and he just thinks they're here to run amok and they can literally kill anyone they want. So we got Huey, Billy Butcher on the boys team, and we also got Frenchie, who's a crazy Quebecian guy who's just all about the drugs, and he talks like this, and he's all so fine about the food, and he knows about the explosives and everything. So he was a funny, cool character. And then there was one black guy his name is literally called Mother's Milk. His mom named him Mother's Milk. I'm not even kidding you. Mother's Milk. Insane, right? And he works as a youth officer. So he basically, Frenchie and Mother's Milk and Billy Butcher already tried this operation before, where they wanted to start this group where they are going to spank the superheroes, meaning when they get online, they do something that they shouldn't do, they'll be there to let them know that, like, no, us average Joes aren't all about that stuff. So it ended up not working out, and they broke up. They got back together and stuff like that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the characters. Sorry guys, it's taking me forever to talk about characters. So we got Billy Butcher, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, female, the Asian lady with female powers. We'll see her later on. I can't really talk about her yet because it doesn't really make sense if I talk about her character. A-Train. So we're going to talk about the Seven now. So the Seven are basically the heroes that it's around right now, that we see in the movie and the TV show right now that you're watching. It's gonna be about the Seven, and they're pretty much like the Justice League in this world. That's how I see it. It's all that. So they're like the Justice League. So that the main leader in that is Homelander. He's basically like if Superman was fucking nuts. Like, this guy is crazy. Like, you could tell he is not right in the head at any time. Like, he is willing. Like, the first scene you see him saving a group of kids, he literally picks up the bad guy and just, like, hums him, like, 500 feet in the air and then just gets, like, just blown up in a car. So it was pretty wild to see that. And you see some wicked scenes with him just... He has a laser. His superpowers are flight, heat vision, pretty much everything like Superman does. That's what he is. He is Superman, but if Superman was fucking nuts. And he has like this weird mother issues where he never really had a mother. They'll be explained later on. And fuck, I keep trying to remember her name right now. Her name is Elizabeth Shue's character in the movie. She's like the head of Vought, Madeline, the manager. She's like not the head of Vought, but she's basically runs all the supers in that section of the Vought, the Seven and everything. Make sure everything goes smoothly, everything's getting paid, everything goes by her first. What her office, the Vought, says, they do it. And you kind of see how Homelander isn't really, he says, like, just wonder, like, why are we listening to these mortals when we are, like, gods? And you see how he just starts changing, but he has this mother affection for Madeline in this weird way, where you see him looking at just, like, this wall, like, this close to his face, and he's literally looking through the wall while she's, like, pumping breast out of her milk. So it was really weird. And there's a scene where, like, she's, like, treating him like a son, but, like, in a sexual way. So it was very weird to see that dynamic happen in a TV show. But I found it was kind of funny because it was a way that, like, that was his kind of weakness. But we'll talk about that later on. So we talked about A-Train. He's a speedster. He's basically the whole reason why Huey goes a whole Breaking Bad route and just loses it and becomes not an average Joe anymore. He has speed. His thing was in the Seven is he's not going to be the fastest person anymore. So he has this race against Shockwave, where this is the race. If he loses, he's not in the Seven anymore. So he's very on the edge and he's willing to do anything what it takes. So we have Queen. I can't remember if I can say her name name right. Queen Maeve, Maeva, I think it is, but she's pretty much like Wonder Woman in a sense. She's a bisexual, so that was kind of cool to see where she had love relations with Homelander and a civilian lady too. So that was pretty cool to see, and you could see that she's not really into the whole Vought and being with the Seven anymore. You could tell she just pretty much did what everyone wanted her to do. So at the end of the whole season, she's like learning that this isn't maybe what she wants to do, and she's realizing how much of a crazy psychopath Homelander is. So and then we have Black Noir, who I think we might see him in maybe 4 scenes in the whole like season, which kind of sucks because the one scene we do see him in, he's like we realize he's like a badass assassin. Like he has this epic, like it's probably like 5-minute fight scene that he has with this female, and it's fucking amazing. Like it was so good. So they said second season they'll have more Black Noir in that too, so I'm very excited for that. And then another character in the Seven is called The Deep, and The Deep is pretty much like a spoof of Aquaman. And his character, I'm pretty sure, played him in Gossip Girl, so it was pretty funny seeing that guy. And he's like he's friends with, like, he's the Aquaman, right? But in this universe, everyone thinks it's a joke, and so he goes like, a friend of mine told me, and like, no, a fucking fish told you, and like Homelander makes it a thing where like, go fuck a beluga whale, pretty much, like just making fun of him, and he like says, I think I can do more and stuff, but the first like couple scenes you see him, he's fucking weird. Like he's a weird guy. He tries to save some dolphins and fish, and it just goes terribly wrong. But it's fucking hilarious how it happens. I'll get in that with the plots. And then we have Translucent. He can go invisible and has diamond cut skin, so he's pretty much impenetrable. He is pretty intense. He like has to be fully naked to go invisible. So, and he's a total pervert. So a bunch of scenes he's caught in the female's bathroom, like just jerking off and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny and it's very creepy. I'm pretty sure and then we have Starlight, the new girl. She's pretty much the main. It's like her and Huey are like the main three, and Billy Butcher are like kind of, she's like around that same sequence where the series is kind of on her a little bit too, because she's the new girl of the seven and joining, and she just wants to fit in, but she learns out this is nothing what she wanted to do, and like this isn't what she wanted. She wants to help people. She doesn't want all this publicity problems. Like she gets in shit because she saves someone without her costume on, and someone films it, and it's just like this big thing, and it's cool. Like she's wearing this one costume, and then they make her wear this sluttier one. So it's all about her like realizing that this isn't what she wanted to do, and how she wants to be a hero and stuff like that, and how she ends up saying fuck the seven in the end, which is very cool. Her power is pretty much like how's her power? Yeah, so she can absorb light pretty much. So if you guys ever watched Harry Potter and the first opening scene where Dumbledore has like that illuminator thing and it like drains in, I want to say like her power is kind of like that. She like absorbs it through her eyes and all of her energy, and then she unleashes it. So she has like a blinding light energy power, which is pretty much cool. It's like repulsor shots too. I feel like with Iron Man, but they made it more of like a brighter thing. So when she unleashes it, it like fucking like it'll blind anyone, and just it's pretty cool. I liked it. She was one of my favorite characters, I'd say, through that thing. Her and Huey were my two favorites, I want to say, and Homelander was a very cool, creepy character. So now we're going to talk about the plot, because I pretty much talked about random points in talking about the characters, and I felt like I ranted on too much. So we're going to go off now. So the whole plot of it is that you find out the supers aren't really super. They have their own problems. They're messed up in the head, a lot of them. They think that they don't have to answer to fucking no one. And the whole plot of like Vought is they want to get the supers into the government. They want them to be in the army, so then they can literally come in and like go to China, kill as many China people as they want, Chinese men. Pretty much like that, going to like South Korea and all this stuff. They want them to be a part of the government system. So basically the first season with Madeline and like Homelander and like the Vought, they're pretty much fighting to get them in the army, and that's kind of like a little subplot in the whole like series that's going on with them. And the main one is pretty much, so Huey, at the start of the whole episode, we see him, he's just like he's a push around. You could shit in the guy's mouth and he wouldn't do anything. So his girl, he works as an IT tech guy. His girlfriend's picking him up. They're walking down the street. She like turns to him, but like when she turns, she steps off the sidewalk like this much, and it just so happens as he says the last words, don't you dare besmirch Billy Joel, and I forget who the other singer was, and we just see a slow-mo shot of a big like she exploded inside. But what happened was A-Train came from one side and was going so fast he ran right through her and exploded. So Huey was holding on to her hands, and he was looking around like just saying Robin, Robin, and like there was like bone. It went like all slow-mo, so you saw the bones and stuff everywhere, and just like teeth and like all this blood, and it was fucking insane. Like I remember watching with one of my best friends, and he thought that was a really wild scene to shoot. So anyways, he's just standing there, and then he stops. It goes back to normal speed. A-Train stops, and all the blood and shit like falls on the ground. He's like, I can't stop, and he's holding this bag, so you know he doesn't look like he's on something. So he just keeps running, and then Huey's in shock that his girlfriend just fucking exploded in his hands. He's holding on to her. All there is like literally these hands. It was so trippy, and he just screams, Robin, like just in a loud. I don't want to say it because I don't want to like creep anyone out, but it was fucking so good. And then it does a big fast forward to like them at the funeral. Simon Pegg is Huey's dad, so that was very cool that he was just randomly in it, but he was kind of like a really shit character to Huey. He was just like always putting his son down. I felt like that he always told Huey he never had the fire in him, kind of deal. So then, but in the end, he ends up telling him that like this is what he should be doing. So it was cool. So Huey's not believing. So what happens was, they have this thing on TV with A-Train because they have Death of Robin and everything, and spoiler, it's funny because Death of Robin, like in Batman. So they have that, and A-Train's on TV. He's like, it was a horrible accident. She stepped off the curb like exponentially. I didn't see her coming, and Huey was just watching this news saying like, what the she was like a fucking meter off the curb. What the fuck? She wasn't like, he was saying she was on the road, but she was like just in the bike lane, and that's what like he's saying. It was like a total accident, like he was doing like all this other shit, but he doesn't believe it. He thinks it was total bullshit. He just says he was making shit up. And then so he's researching all the shit. What could he do to charge them, blah blah blah. And then he meets Billy Butcher, Carl Urban's character, who comes up to him at the halfway through the first episode saying, I heard what happened to your girl Robin. So like he's talking to him, saying that he feels like he could help, we could do something about it. And then what ends up happening? What happens? He ends up getting a contract by Vought saying they will give him this large sum of money. He can't mention the accident at all to anyone, talk about Robin's name, and he just pretty much says, fuck you, like this is bullshit. Like no one said sorry to me, like no one's saying sorry. He's like, I want an apology. So what Billy Butcher says, that he's gonna go to the Vought 7 building and shake A-Train's hand and ask me, he just wants an apology, and then he'll sign off on it, and then it'll be over. But what we don't know is the secret was Billy Butcher was giving him a small bug, like a tracking bug, so they can listen in what the fuck's going on there. Because the whole thing with Billy Butcher is, his plot line is, his wife went missing for the last 5 years, I think. Don't know why. She worked for Vought. All we know is, spoiler, is that later on in the series we find out that Homelander had a little thing with her, and they were in the room for over 6 hours, and when she left it looked like panic happened and stuff like that. And it was just one of those things where he has video clips of her on like a park bench for 4 hours, gets up and just walks away, and there's no ever footage ever seen of her again. And he's like secretly working under the table with I think it's the CIA, but like he kind of says he's a cop at first, and then Huey realizes he's not even like, he's just an average Joe like he is. He's just here to fucking let some mercs know, let some heroes know that they can't be doing this stuff anymore. So I kind of like that sense that there was people out there like that wasn't standing for that kind of stuff. So anyways, we're going out to where Huey goes. He gets A-Train, meets A-Train, and he gets the whole handshake. He's like, yeah, sorry man, like I blew up your girlfriend or whatever, like I already apologized, so I shouldn't be doing this. But before that, what made Huey go off even more is Billy Butcher showed him this video clip at this one bar that A-Train goes to all the time, and he was making the joke of like, fuck man, like I had the girls like teeth in my mouth, and they're like just laughing about it. And Huey was just not impressed about how he, like a superhero like him, an A superhero, was laughing that he killed an innocent woman. He killed her by accident, and he thought that was just fucking hilarious, that he had pieces of her blood and shit that he ate when he ran through her. Like, that was fucking disgusting. And you secretly find out that he tells the guy that he was hooked on, and it's called Compound B. Compound V, sorry guys. So Compound V is the thing that we find out it's a drug that will boost any superhero's powers to like a whole nother, it's basically like cocaine for a superhero. It will like boost their speed up. So for A-Train, it made his speed go way faster. So we see he has the race with Shockwave in episode 2, that he ends up using that, and that's the only way how he beats him. And we find out that him and his girlfriend have been using that for a while, who's called Pop Claw. She has like, she can have spikes come out of her wrists, and she's just like a low B class like superhero who pretty much does like sexy movies and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny seeing like that stuff around her apartment when they were trying to film her, because they were doing that. But I'm gonna go back to the whole when they're listening on A-Train. So they listen in, find out that stuff wasn't going right for them with the whole, like, what he was taking off. And then Billy Butcher discusses, he's like, well, like, he ran through her, and then he was in a real hurry, right? So where was he going, and where was he coming from that he was in such a hurry to? Because he was holding this bag. So they think it's some that Compound V stuff. So he gathers back all the boys. Well, first, what happens is they're talking back. They do the bug plan. The bug plan happens, and then Huey has to go to the bathroom. So he's in the bathroom at the Vought, and what happens is, because we know that Translucent is all about going to the bathroom naked and stuff like that, and he's secretly there, and Huey drops the bug by accident in the bathroom, and then he picks it up, and then Translucent's very aware of this, and then what happens is he plants the bug. Translucent finds the bug. He literally follows him back to the IT tech shop, and then Billy Butcher pretty much says, I don't need you anymore, kid. Your job's done. Thank you. Like, I can take it from here kind of deal. And then he was kind of bummed that he didn't have anything else to do. Like, he wanted to do more. Like, he wants to help. You could sense that he wants to help more against the evil superheroes. Evil super guys, pretty much. I'm going to call them evil super guys or evil superheroes. So yeah, and then as Billy Butcher leaves, the door closes, but it doesn't really close. I caught that right away. Like, you could tell someone, like, caught the door, so Translucent was secretly there. And all of a sudden, he got the bug thrown back at him. He's saying, like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, following me? Like, well, why? He's like, you're fucking with the 70s. Like, do you know who we are? He's like, no one fuck cares about you. And then he starts beating up him, and beating up Huey, and then all of a sudden he's just about Translucent's about to smash him with the TV, and then Billy Butcher comes in with the car and tanks him with the car, but Translucent's made out of like hard carbon fiber diamonds or something like that, like that's what his skin is, so that really didn't affect him that much. So him and Billy Butcher have a pretty cool fight scene for a little bit. They play some like Irish pub music for a while and stuff, so that was pretty cool. And then in the end, how they end that fight, Huey like zaps him right up the asshole with like an with the part like from the electric cable from like a TV, because they're in a TV store, like electric show or whatever. So that happens, and then they end up knocking him out, but Huey thinks he's dead, and they end up what they do, they toss him in the back of the car. So now they have a superhero. They managed to capture a superhero, an A-class superhero from the 7. He is chipped too. So what they don't know yet is that he's chipped. So if any of the members of the 7 go missing, they need to find him. So he's been missing for about maybe 24 hours, and they have him at a diner, and they ended up meeting up with Frenchie, one of Billy Butcher's old pals, who I mentioned in my character logins. So Frenchie, you could tell he's not happy with this, and he's shitting his pants that they brought a 7 here, because he knows they're chipped, so he lets them know that, and pretty much they bring him back, and the whole plot, what they're trying to do is, Huey wants to question him for answers, for A-Train and stuff like that, but Billy Butcher and Frenchie just want to try and see how they can kill him, because they want to kill a superhero and let people know that, like, that's the whole deal. Like, the whole thing is, like, they want to kill him and figure out how they can do that, and how they're going to be able to kill all the other superheroes. So basically they're trying to kill them as fast as they can before any other, like, the 7 find out, and like Homelander, that's pretty much who they're worried about the most, because they want to know if he has a weakness, and if they can stop him, they can kill Translucent, and that means they feel like they can kill anyone. So they have him in this cage it's about episode 2 for the whole time, pretty much, and they're trying to figure out ways to kill him. They end up finding out they make this bullet that's the same power as his skin, apparently, and that didn't work out. He just laughs, and he's like, you stupid motherfuckers. He's like, I'm invincible. And then it takes, like, almost last 20 minutes of the movie, so Frenchie finds out he's like a turtle, so he's a hard shell, but inside he's all like the rest of us, nice and mushy, he says, gushy. So what they do is they knock him out, they put a fucking explosive of his butthole so we can't scoop it up, and that's what they're playing. They're gonna blow him up. So ends up Homelander through that whole episode 2 is like worried. He's upset that no one's acknowledging that Translucent is missing, because they feel like if that comes out, then they don't know what they're doing. They're not able to handle with their supers and stuff like that. So they're just trying to keep it on the down low. They're having small agents look around for them, but if nothing's working out, so Homelander goes down to the agency base and tells the one girl, he's like, "You're just gonna do this for me because I'm Homelander and I can do whatever the fuck I want." So she gives him the radius of where they think Translucent is. So he flies off, goes, and they end up finding out that Homelander is coming. So what they do is Billy and Frenchie go outside to to send another bomb out at Frenchie's house, because they're at a whole another few blocks away from that. So Homelander comes to their van where they're outside of where they're keeping Translucent secretly. And just as that's happening, Huey and Translucent have a big talk about why he is I don't know, he can't be a killer. It's not in him. And earlier there too, Frenchie was talking about how the first person he ever killed, it's everyone you kill, they say it'll be it's like scars on you, they will never leave. He was talking about the woman he first ever killed. He was describing it like it was his girlfriend kind of deal. And then he talks about what did she do? She had stuff under her nails. She's a clay painter. I never knew because that was the first lady I ever killed, and it just stays with you like scars. So that was cool knowing that letting Huey know that that vengeance will stay with him when he wants to go, because he wants vengeance. He wants A-Train dead, pretty much, as far as we know in the first few episodes. So what happens is Translucent ends up pissing on the cage because it's all shocked, ends up escaping, and then Huey has the explosive ready to say, he's like, "I'm gonna blow you up," and he tells him, he's like, "You're a no one, man." He's like, you can't do this." He's like, "You're too good of a guy," and then walks away. And as that happening, they know, Billy, Butcher, and Frenchie know they can't explode him because Homelander's around it. Homelander has super hearing, so if they do that, he'll be there in a second. So what they do is they set off that tracker explosive at Frenchie's house. It blows up, so Homelander leaves them, and then boom, few seconds later, Translucent just walks away from Huey, thinking that I talked this kid out of not killing me. What a fucking loser. And then I can't remember what Translucent says, but it's just Huey just starts just shaking, and then boom, just boom, end of the episode, and then they kill one of the 7. It was fucking insane. And then you could tell later in the episode too that next episode that it's you could tell it's wearing on it, that he just killed someone. It's on his face and everything. He's very, he can't believe he just literally exploded like a superhero pretty much, and he killed someone for the first time ever. So it was pretty crazy seeing that. I was very I didn't think it was gonna happen like that, but I was very surprised, and I like how Huey was the one to do it, but I just wish there was more with him in the sense of he wasn't going back and forth of vengeance and not vengeance, and this isn't doing it right and stuff. So I'm gonna try not do everything episode by episode. I'll just pretty much talk about now. So I try to talk about the whole plot of everything is just superheroes are kind of a-holes in this universe. They're all about the money, promotions, getting all that good stuff, getting all the promotions. And then we find out, so with Homelander, he's been doing a lot of bad stuff lately. He's been going off the beaten path. And then there's an Indian, a European, I think, president that Madeline has to speak to, and he denies wants superheroes in his for his army type deal, I'm pretty sure that is. And Homelander's listening into that, and as they're flying in the airplane, his son sees Homelander and waves to him. Homelander waves back, and then he's like, "Dad, you're friends with Homelander?" He's like, "No." And then all of a sudden we see Homelander just shoot down that plane with his eye beams and stuff like that. So that was pretty crazy. That was, I think, the first episode, and that it kind of showed that Homelander had a really dark side. And then it just kept growing and growing. We kept seeing him doing more fucked up things. There was a hijack on an airplane with all these people there, and they ended up killing all the pilot, and the plane was going down because the plane was all destroyed. So queen, like the Wonder Woman lady, Queen Madeline, she wanted to save everyone. She was so, like, thought we could do this. We could do this. Homelander's like, no, we can't fucking, like, what am I gonna fucking do? Fly thousands of times back and forth and hopefully try and save a few? He's like, fuck that. He's like, we're not saving anyone. So it was very trippy seeing that. It was like, you know, in Superman, when they're in the airplane in that scene and they're falling to their death, and all of a sudden Superman comes and lifts the plane and saves everyone. Homelander didn't want to fucking do anything. He was just walking down the lanes and, like, people were begging him, like, holding on to him, and he literally says, like, I will fucking eye laser you, get out of my way. Like, it was pretty intense. Like, it showed that he didn't give a fuck anymore about humans. Like, he wasn't about saving, like, he didn't care what Vought thought anymore. It was all about him, and he thinks that he's a god and he doesn't have to do anything for these mortals, pretty much. That's how I thought it, how it was in that sense. So, we pretty much, for the Deep, so I'll talk about the Deep now. The Deep was pretty much a spoof character. He was funny. He was, like, just so weird. Like, when Starlight first comes to the team, well, I'll get back to the Deep. I'll talk about Starlight anyways, because I like Starlight a lot. So Starlight, she starts out as like a country girl, like a church girl, who all she wanted to do was be part of the Seven. And she ends up getting into the Seven and learns out it's not what it is. Her first, like, meeting, she talks with the Deep, and they have a talk about, like, her growing up and stuff like that, and he's trying to, like, convince her, like, he's the second command here, like, so he should listen to her. So, like, who's your favorite? And he ends up asking when she grew up, like, who was her favorite superhero, and she said him. And then she's turning around at this point when they're talking. So by the time she turns back around, he has his pants down and he's mid jerking off, and she's, like, shocked, like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, what? I thought you liked me. And then he's like, what? We don't have to fuck, just a little bit of tug and pull. And I thought that was so fucking funny, but, like, it was so fucked. Like, in the comic book, it's way worse. She gets, like, Stargirl gets ridiculed way more in the comic books, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's very gross in this, but, like, we know, like, it ends up being, like, he's like, she gets really mad and, like, destroys all these things. He's like, whoa, like, I'm gonna tell people you're crazy and try to attack me. So he's like, you better, like, just suck my dick or I'm gonna get you kicked off the Seven. And so, like, she ended up doing it, and I was like, no fucking way, this girl's actually bowing down and doing this to this, like, doucher. So she did it. Ends up being, she totally, like, regrets it and realizing that, like, he's not who he says he is. He's the ass of the Seven. He's the joke. He's the butt of everything. He ends up getting, like, she ends up coming out and saying that he, like, raped her and tried to do this stuff to her first day, and that gets Vought to kick him out. Vought, like, pretty much says, you're going to be a city, you're going to be a city for a superhero, like a super, like this, you're going to be, like, and I don't even know where, like Maryland or something, like, and it was, like, the lowest rating, villain place, like, lowest crime rate. So he pretty much was just being an average Joe in a hotel for, like, a year now. Like, Vought dropped him, he ended up finding out at the end of the episode. So he shaved his head and all this weird stuff. You find out he has, like, gills right here too, so when he's there, like, some girl, like has, like, sex with them, but, like, she starts, like, fingering his gills and stuff, and he doesn't like it. So it's, like, one of those things where it's just, like, he learns that, like, he shouldn't have been doing that stuff at the start, I guess. But anyways, we're going to talk about some of his funny scenes. So another reason why he got kicked off Vought was because he was trying to save this dolphin. He ends up saving this dolphin from, like, this experiment, I think it was. And this dolphin's, like, talking, because he could talk dolphin, so he's talking to this dolphin. He's like, yeah, chill out, man. Like, you're too horny. Like, yeah, like, cool. Like, yeah, maybe we might do that. Like, just talking about this weird stuff they might do with each other, like, with fucking dolphin. And so they end up being, like, he stops at a stop sign too fast, and then literally the dolphin goes right through the windshield and then gets ran over by a transport. It was so fucking funny, because it was just like, Aquaman would have saved that fish, no problem. But fuck this motherfucker called the Deep, like, just lets it die. And then when he's shopping in Maryland or wherever the fuck he gets sent, he's talking to a lobster. He's like, hey man, like, I guess, oh yeah, dude, like, I'll fucking save you right now. Like, he's like, yeah, dude, like, no, this one right here, man, this one's my fucking, this one's cool. Like, just like, cause he's talking like sexually to it too, I guess. And so the guy takes it out, and he forgets that what you do with the crab when you go and buy, he fucking stabs him right away. So he just like tries to save two animals of his water species, and they both die. So it was fucking funny, and I hope we see more just like funny shit with him, because he was kind of just like the butt of every like water joke when they made fun of and stuff. So it was pretty cool like that, and it'll be interesting to see if he will be a part of the 7 or if he joins the boys, or if he just like is kind of really randomly in the mix of season 2 as like a B-class hero back to like get revenge on Vought maybe. So Starlight now, Starlight 2 ways pretty much. She learns that she doesn't like the 7 and everything. They make her change her suit to a little sluttier costume with like a boudier or whatever it's called, so you see her boobs more and stuff like that, and she doesn't like that. Guys are whistling at her more and everything, and she's not down for this. She learns that she wasn't special, and the big kicker about everything about all the superheroes is that Vought was experimenting on children. And what we learned was Homelander was, I think, the first hero ever tested on, because in episode 4 the boys they find out from Paul Claw that what A-Train was doing was running the drugs, running the V8, let's say, like the compound V that he was running. So they find out where that's happening, and they find out they're experimenting on like young Chinese women at this time, and they find one, and they end up, Frenchie befriends her and like tries to keep not such an animal, because like when they find her, she's crazy, she's ripping people's chests out, like she's literally an animal, and they end up calming her down through the season, and she ends up being able to talk, I think, at the end, and like, but her and Frenchie have like a really good relationship. So I'm excited to see like if she takes on a superhero persona next season and stuff, and if she can start talking, and we can kind of like learn more about like how it happened from her and everything. It'll be cool to see if like, because her and Noir fought too, and she was the one, Noir like beat the crap out of her, like cut her up and shit, but like she got revived, so like she has Wolverine capabilities too, so that was pretty cool. So anyways, we go with what's happening was, so Starlight finds out that she wasn't born with these powers. She finds out that her mom let these experiments happen, and the reason her dad left was because he didn't want that to happen. So her mom pretty much pushed this on her so she could become a superhero and make a lot of money for her and stuff like that. And then her mom tries to guilt trip her and all this stuff, and she ends up doing like a whole 360 in the end, where it's kind of hard to explain. Like, she's with Huey and the boys, but like Billy Butcher doesn't really trust her that much, so it's kind of like it's unsure where she is, but we know she's not going to be with the 7. She might, like, who knows. I'm interested to see how her and Huey, like, they build a relationship, like a love interest with each other. So I was very happy to see that happen too. So it'll be interesting to see like how they carry out their relationship, because at one point Huey kind of sets her up and Billy shoots her, so that kind of sucked. But in the end, she comes and saves the boys and shit like that and Huey. So I really like that a lot. But I think she'll still be working, like she'll be still with the 7, and maybe trying to slowly change it inside the organization as like one of their spies, maybe, who knows. And then they said for the second season it'll be we'll see a lot more B-class and other world, like the 7 is only one A-class organization, they said, and we'll see more of like the other organizations around the world. I can't remember what the names were, but they name dropped a bunch in the TV shows too, and they said like they said the first episode is already made, and it is 1,000 times better than the first episode, the first season. So I'm very excited to see what they think about it. So now we're going to talk about the ending. I'm pretty much going to talk about it now. So we know that Compound V was the thing that made all superheroes heroes. Like, didn't matter. Homelander was the first. He was tested. You find out that he was made in a lab. He didn't have a mom. He didn't have a dad. They experimented him with like love. So when he would hug his nanny, he killed his nanny so much it would be either from rage or he just hugged her too much from love. So they found out that like he was very unstable as a kid and stuff growing up too. So that was really cool, and I liked that a lot. The whole point with Madeline too is we find out Billy Butcher learns his secret that Madeline might be the key to stopping Homelander, because he finally sees the video of what happens with, like, we finally see the video of what happens with his wife and Homelander, that like something bad, like he must have raped her and stuff like that. And then we find out that she had Homelander's kid and she died. She carrying the baby secretly. That's what the doctor said at the one laboratory to Homelander. And then he goes back later on at the end of the episode 8 because he's talking to Madeline, but Billy Butcher's there. So I'm just gonna literally jump ahead. Pretty much a lot of stuff happens. I just want to try and I'm rewatching it again now. I'm just like talking about random points I like about it and like talking about more in character depth points. So I'm sorry guys if some of it doesn't really make sense in a way, but I'm just still trying to learn this. So it pretty much goes, they're at the home of Madeline and Billy Butcher has her like around the head, like he has bombs everywhere, like he's ready to blow her the fuck up. And I forgot to say Madeline has a baby too, that's why she was breast pumping and stuff, and Homelander isn't really for the baby, like he thinks it's fucking stupid, it's a waste of time, like he wants Madeline all herself. He's the mama's boy, he wants Madeline to be his mommy kind of deal, like in a weird love relationship way. So it was weird. So Billy Butcher learns about that, and then he knows Homelander's outside, so he's like, why don't you just come inside, because y'all know you're there. So that was pretty cool. And the whole scene was like Billy was gonna kill her, but it ended up being like a whole 360 where Homelander ended up like fucking eye lasering her eyeballs out of like her whole head pretty much. It was wild. And then like that shitted on Butcher's plan pretty much. Like that was his plan. That was like his Hail Mary plan, was to set that up and then do a big kaboom. So when that shit happened, he pretty much said fuck it, turn the key, and all we see is a big explosion. So the big explosion happens, and then we hear some music go off, and after the music goes off, we're going to talk about now what happened to Huey, Frenchie, and Mother Milk, sorry. So they got captured by like the feds and like I think it was like the government that works for the Vought pretty much, because they got caught by them. A-Train got in shit because there was multiple times where him and Huey have crossed paths after he killed his girlfriend, and A-Train didn't recognize him. And that for me, I was so fucking pissed off, because like Huey, I wish Huey would have just fucking socked him once or twice, but like they ended up setting a trap for A-Train too, where it left off where I think he won't be mad at A-Train, I feel like, in the end, but I feel like there's going to be some issues for them in the second season. I really hope Huey kills A-Train. Like, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted the whole season to be. Like, and then in the end, he kind of just says, we shouldn't do this. And then they release that trick on him. They break his legs so he can't move, and they they beat him up pretty badly, where he's just breathing barely. I think he just like ODs on Compound 8, because like by the time they see him again, he's just like tripping way too hard, stuff like that. And he ended up killing his own girlfriend too, or did she kill herself? I can't remember, but yeah, and then he keeps telling Huey like, you killed my girlfriend, and Huey's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, you killed my girlfriend. But it ends off like Huey rethinking his tactic of what he wanted to do on A-Train. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in the second season. So that ends up happening, and then it kind of like Starlight comes and saves them when they're captured from the feds too. And then they're just like on the run pretty much, and then it goes back to Billy the Butcher, and then the big explosion happens. That whole scene, big explosion, because that's the main ending, and the main thing everyone really wants to see is like Butcher versus Homelander, because they had a good stare off before too, like stare down at the racetrack, and then yeah, they have that big boom goes off. Then Billy wakes up and he's in the suburbs at a house just in the front yard. Wakes up, Homelander's like right above him, picks him up, and then all of a sudden this young blonde boy comes up. Homelander pats him on the head, gives him a rub on the head, And then we see Billy Butcher's wife out the front window, surprised to see her husband. So, and then it ends with like this some kind, I can't even remember what song it was, but it was pretty catchy. Yeah, and so it ends up being that Homelander has had a kid with Billy the Butcher's wife, and they had a love child together that survived. And you find out that it looks exactly like Homelander, and it has Homelander's powers. So it might not have all Homelander's powers. We might not know yet that now. Wow, that made no sense. Sorry, guys. That made no sense. We might not know now. As far as I know, I think it might be like Superman and Superboy, where he has some of his abilities, but who knows? It might be like Superman's actual son, and he is able to take all of his abilities on because it was a drug they took. So it might be all of his abilities carry out to his son. So that would be interesting to see him develop his son as a hero and how he tries to develop a relationship with his son as Homelander. And it'll be interesting to see what Billy Butcher's going to do, that knowing that he technically has a stepson that's Soup, with Homelander being the actual real dad. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of mind space he's in next season. He'll probably be really messed up for the first little bit, or he'll be out just for hard vengeance and maybe looking to turn Homelander's kid against Homelander. Maybe that will be his way into tricking everyone. And then same with vice versa with Billy and his wife, with the wife maybe too. That's what I think. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens, and I'm excited for Starlight and Huey's relationship to progress in it too. And I don't know, like Mother Milk didn't really get much to work with. Like he got his wife like dropped him, so he's not with his wife anymore. So that'll probably be a point thing that they interact with next season, maybe, or maybe they go in more depth with why the boys broke up in the first season in early on before the season even started. So it'll be interesting to see. So this is the end of my video, guys, for The Boys Amazon Prime review. I hope you liked it. 8.5 out of 10. I'm super excited for second season. If you're in Toronto, maybe try and look around, guys. I might be filming some shots in your area. So sorry if my words are all tongue-tied today. I'm a little bit hungover for my cousin's wedding the other day still. I don't drink that much. So thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and thanks for watching.